Okay, welcome everybody. This is Maria Christie, dating success coach at mariachristiecoaching.com. Welcome to our weekly Heart to Heart, where I speak with inspiring coaches, mentors, experts, also supporting women to design, attract, and live their dream life and relationship. Today, I'm so excited to be speaking with Millen Livis. Millen is a wealth architect and financial empowerment coach for women. Actually, she wears many hats, but I'll share the overview briefly. But that's her main role, and she's the founder of Dare to Change Life. Her background is that she worked on Wall Street, and she's the author of 2 best-selling books. And she ultimately supports women now in achieving financial independence and freedom. And it's such an important topic, and I believe one that we don't discuss often enough. So with that said, I'm excited for Millen to share her insights with us today, and I'd love to welcome you. Welcome, Millen. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for having me as your guest, and I'm so excited to talk to you and share with you and your clients, followers, bits of wisdom and experience that I accumulated over many years.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. We're excited to hear your tips and how you support women now. I mean, it's very inspiring. Your journey in itself is very inspiring. So I would love for you to share with our audience what led you to this point, Millen. What made you become a financial empowerment coach and wealth architect for women?
That's a very short question for a very long answer. So let me try to be very quick with this, because my story is empowering and inspiring for many women, because I was not born into wealth and I didn't marry a wealthy guy. I come from a middle-class family where money was always scarce. I'm also first-generation immigrant in the United States. So when we came to the United States, we didn't have any money, and I didn't even speak English. So it took me 1 year to self-teach myself, and after 1 year, when my English was good enough, I found my first professional job as a consultant for Merrill Lynch, which is one of the biggest mortgage brokerage companies in the United States.
Yeah.
Before that, my first year, I was working as a minimum wage florist assistant, just because I needed to support my family. And once I started working on Wall Street, I had many different jobs. I became an executive and had very comfortable life. But for some reason, something inside me was not fulfilled. And at some point, I decided to continue my education and went to study business at one of the prestigious business schools, the Wharton Business School. And when I graduated with the MBA degree, I didn't feel like going back to corporate America. And I started my own investment company. So when I was working on Wall Street, I learned how to invest in the stock market. And when I started my own investment company, I learned how to invest in the real estate. And the beginning was very challenging. I had business partners. I invested in different assets. And when the crash happened in 2008, we lost money. So I went through a very challenging time financially, emotionally, health-wise. And in addition to this, my marriage fell apart. So I left, and I rented a tiny apartment near New York City where I was working. And I also got into a car accident, had major injury, neck injury. So I'm sharing this with you because I want to show that even when you go through multiple adversities in life, things, it is possible to turn things around. Okay, so where you right now does not define where you can be at some point in your life, as long as you keep going. So I was fortunate enough to meet a life coach who helped me to see possibilities in my life. And during these challenges, financial challenges, I developed through my own experience and knowledge. I developed a system, I call it the millionaire system, that now I share with my clients, women who I work with, and help them to develop financial independence. I myself was able to become financially independent within 7 years. And I know if it was possible for me, it is possible for any woman who is committed enough to becoming financially independent. So that's a short version of my long story.
Very inspiring. In 7 years. May I ask you, Millen, so what were the first steps that you began to take in order to achieve that? For any of our audience who are listening, who also want to achieve that financial independence, you know, within the next 2, 3, 4 years, what were the first steps that you took in order to begin gaining some financial freedom?
Well, I believe that it's important to be intentional with your money, to be aware of what kind of thinking is happening in your head, pretty much, because obviously your thinking becomes your experiences, right? Because we always outpicture in our life what is happening, what we believe in, and what we think about, right? So become intentional about your money, and knowing that you have a choice. You know, you can be strategic about spending your money, or be spontaneous. You know, people who are strategic about their money, who make money important in their life, right? Not something that they feel they have to deal with, but really appreciate that they have opportunity to have money and to manage money. They are more strategic, and they feel that, okay, I want to achieve certain things in life, and to do that, I need to have resources. So money is it's a form of energy, and it's a form of resources that you want to have, you know, in order to achieve something in your life. So be strategic about your money, and you know, if you want to at some point become financially independent and become wealthy, you must have savings. So having the discipline and the habit in your life to allocate money towards savings, regardless of your situation. You know, if you can do 10% a month, that would be great. If you can do only less, it's still okay, because you put in place a habit that, you know, will eventually get you to the point when you will have savings, investments, and more choices, more freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't know if I answered your question, or you want to clarify something.
Yes, absolutely, you did. I'd love to ask you a few more specific tips. However, I love the fact that you said that it becomes a habit. And that reminds me of something I saw that you posted in your group recently. As you know, I'm in your group, and I love your insights and the advice that you share. You said that you don't believe in New Year's resolutions. You don't believe in a Band-Aid, and I love that. And it resonated with me as well. It doesn't really work for most people, right? And so this is the same principle. It's better to develop habits. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely. I don't believe in New Year's resolution because it's a Band-Aid. I call it Band-Aid because people have the intention, but then there is no foundation behind this. And, you know, when you develop a habit that you don't resist, that because you have something that inspires you to have this habit, and you have you choose to be disciplined about this habit, then you will create a lasting effect, because you become the cause of what you want to achieve. You don't depend on external circumstances. You don't depend on people outside of, you know, your control, because we cannot control other people. We only can control ourselves.
Absolutely.
So when you become really strategic and disciplined about what you want to create in your life and inspired by your vision, then you can really develop habits that will support your desires, support your dreams. And it all starts with abundance mindset, and that's one of the things that I teach in the Millionaire Method, is abundance or wealth mindset.
Mm. Absolutely, I love that. I love that. Do you find, in your experience working with women, that they find it challenging to stick to these new habits?
Well, anything that worth your while, worth your effort.
Yes.
And the fact that it's challenging should not stop anyone,
Right.
because your dream should be bigger than your your fears, your self-doubts. I can tell you that I'm not the one who likes changes. I'm not the one that's fearless. However, even though when I feel my fear and when I sometimes have my self-doubts, what helps me to keep going is the dream that I have. How much I want, how much I desire to live the life that I want to create in my life, right? How much I want to achieve the vision that I have. So this, when you resist something, it persists. So the best way to anchor certain habits and certain rituals in your life is to focus on what you want to create, focus on what inspires you. And that's what I do in my life. Like I said, I feel the fear, but I do it anyway because I'm inspired by my vision. And my vision is to help women to become financially empowered.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And it applies to all areas of life, as you say. I mean, this comes up very much in relationships.
Absolutely.
I support women to attract their dream relationship. And it should be a dream relationship by design and without settling. And it's the same principle, right? Mm.
Absolutely. You need to be driven by the excitement that you have about your vision. And our feelings are magnetic. Our thoughts are electric and our feelings are magnetic. So when you truly feel strong about something in your life, you magnetize this. You create a magnetic field that attracts what vibration you yourself emit. That's why it is important, very important, when you think about achieving some goal. It's very important not only be focused on where you want to get, but also who you will become when you get there. Because ultimately, your vibration is the cause of your desires that you want to achieve, right? So when you become the person who can live the life that you want to have, this life will happen.
It's so inspiring. That's wonderful. It's lovely. I'd love to sort of move on and ask you for some more advice now with regard to financial independence in relationships. I mean, I could talk about that topic forever, but there's so much I want to ask you. In particular, and we've discussed this before, and it's about women feeling, having that financial independence, first of all, well, in relationships, really, right? And so the first step is to work towards having that financial freedom and stability long term. Secondly is, how do they manage, what advice would you give women to manage finances within a relationship, within that team? Because it's something I believe that we don't talk about often enough. We talk very much about how to attract our dream relationship, how to find our dream guy, right, and to enjoy that relationship. But then, the deeper values we don't really spend enough time on, and finances, as we know, has a huge impact on relationships. It's actually within the top 5 reasons for divorce as well. So this is where I'd we'd love your expertise, Millen. What advice would you give women with regard to maintaining that financial independence within that relationship?
This is such a great question, Maria, because I come across so many women who stay in the relationship, unfortunately, because they afraid that they will not be able to support themselves, that they will not be able to maintain the lifestyle that they would like to have, and this is probably the worst reason to be with someone, right? And that's why I feel that even when you are in a relationship, you need to have this sense of self-sufficiency. Like, yes, you, even though your husband may be, or your partner may be working, find a way to make your own money. And that will give you the sense of confidence and knowing that, no matter what, you will be able to support yourself. So I always suggest that, if women have opportunity, if they don't have, young children, but when they, as soon as they have opportunity to make their own money, even if they work from home, it's a very good idea. I also suggest that in a relationship, partners have individual accounts as well as joint account, because when you live with someone, it's not uncommon that partners have different money habits.
Yes.
Some may be savers and other may be spenders, right? And from my experience, some of my clients were in a situation when they had to hide, they had to have like secret money account from their partner, because the partner was spender, and they were concerned about money, and they started hiding money away in the secret account. They felt guilty about having this secret account, and very often it ends up in being sick. That's what unfortunately happens when you have this secrets that you're afraid that would be discovered, etc. So there is no need for this. I believe that in a partnership relationship, conversation about money should be a common practice. It should be very transparent.
Yes.
And more than that, I think this conversation should happen before you get into relationship.
Exactly.
You need to be very clear what money habits your partner has, and how it lands on you, and vice versa. And being honest and transparent about your expectations, about your intentions, and and also discussing dreams together, right? It's not only about how we're going to pay bills together. It's also about what kind of dreams, what kind of life we're going to create together, and how we can have resources to create this life. So this openness in the relationship about finances is very, very important. And I also want to bring something up that I think also very, very important for people who are about to get married. I'm a big proponent of prenuptial agreement, because I think it's important that people feel responsible for what will happen in a marriage, but at the same time, they don't feel that just because they marry a person, they may lose all the savings, all the assets that they had before. It should be fair agreement, right?
Absolutely. And we hear this all the time as well. Sorry to interrupt, Millen, but we hear stories of this happening all the time, where a prenup doesn't exist, and the marriage breaks down after so many years. And women, from my knowledge, from what I what we see, is that women suffer the most.
Yeah, and I feel that it's important to be in integrity regardless of the circumstances. So I support prenuptial agreement where the woman has money and the partner maybe does not, and vice versa. Because when you live in integrity, you live in integrity across all areas of your life. So you shouldn't pick and choose where you have to be, fair and honest, and where maybe not so much, because we can lead in the relationship. We can model how we want to be, and our partner will appreciate us more when he or she sees that we are, authentic, and we have integrity in our decisions and our intentions.
Absolutely.
So it's always people feel that. People feel your authenticity. People feel your integrity. And I think it's important to be that way across all areas in your life, and across different decisions in your life as well.
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier that a woman should have her own bank account. There should be 2 bank accounts in the household. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit more as well?
This is my belief. This is how I feel. What works for me and for my clients, because there are certain things that, and by the way, that needs to be discussed as well with a partner. It shouldn't be like ultimatum. I want to have this, and if not, then I will not be with you.
Sure.
It should be open-minded discussion, and the reason for this is this. When you have your own money, you feel more responsible for managing it. And you also don't need to ask permission from your partner for something that maybe is important for you, but he may feel that it's not important for him or her, right? So you can decide that maybe, one of you will cover a rent, another one will pay for groceries, whatever arrangement you have in your family. And then you can have joint account for things that you want to have together. I don't know, maybe vacations, or some cultural entertainment and outing, etc. And you can discuss what portion of contribution each of you will maybe make into a joint account, and what separate. Again, this is very personal. I don't suggest specific arrangement within the family, because it depends on your financial situation right now, on your partner's salary, your salary, your lifestyle, right? But I think it gives you some level of independence even within the union.
Yes.
Because being with someone should not make you feel like you lost your identity, you lost your independence. I know that like in my first marriage, and I'm married for the second time, happily married. In my first marriage, I had to explain to my husband why I want to go to the yoga retreat, because he was not into this stuff. And I had to justify myself, and I had to explain myself, and it was so uncomfortable for me. Even though I was working and I was making my own money, but we didn't have separate accounts. We had only joint accounts.
Right.
So I felt that, I had to justify myself, and it didn't feel right. So, like I said, I only teach what I live. I only teach what works for me and for my clients. And that's why I'm sharing this, because it does work for me and other women who I work with.
That's wonderful. You mentioned earlier, and I'm really curious by the prenup as well. Do you mind if I just ask you a small question about that? Because we're finding now that fewer people are actually entering marriage officially, that they are cohabiting. Do you recommend this arrangement for couples who just move in together and share a home as well? So in that instance, would you recommend a prenup or an agreement?
You see, usually prenuptial agreement is important when people are in a formal marriage,
right?
Because when you're in a formal marriage, all resources become like joint resources.
Right.
When you just live independently, it's up to you, because there is no need. There is no legal need for this, because you still, have your assets, and your partner has his or her assets.
Right.
However, sometimes it might be a good idea, because even if you just live together and your partner will say, well, we need to, I have a problem with my business, and I know you have money, maybe, you could just give me the money, and, and without any formal agreement that, you kind of like lended money and you expect this money back, it could cause some challenges later on. I am a big believer that clear communication, especially around money,
Yes.
upfront, not something, no assumptions that, this person got money from you, and because, he loves you and you love him, that, it would be understood that, he should pay you back.
Yeah.
I think it should be very clear, and, preferably in the form of some kind of written agreement, and maybe with notary public or with a lawyer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you don't love this person, and you should, express your affection and your love. But it just, clarity always saves the headache later on. So that's my take on this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate your point of view, because we know that official formal marriage is becoming less popular, let's say. I have two sisters, both have been with their partners for 17 years. One is officially married. They both have exactly the same situation, but one is officially married and one is cohabiting. But, exactly the same situation, but one is official and one is not recognized by the law. So I believe the same applies, right, in those circumstances. If a couple doesn't want to make it formal, with a wedding.
And also in different countries, like in France, it's called pact.
Right.
So, it's in different countries, this cohabitation has different rules.
Right.
So, that's why I would say, just to keep it simple, right, to have this discussion before and say, what, I would like to have something in writing, and, so we will not need to worry about this, because, what you tolerate, you worry about, right? So there is no need for this. There are other options to resolve this. And I think it's a very simple option to have something in writing about your arrangement prior to having, living with someone. Or even if you do live now, and, you feel that there is need for this, like I said, be honest with your partner, be upfront and be transparent, and trust that if he or she loves you, he will be willing to listen and find the best solution for both of you. Yes. Never look for a solution that only works for you. Remember that, in any relationship, it should work for both of you. So you should be fair regardless which side are you on, whether you have money or not.
Yeah.
Always be fair when it comes to...
That's perfect. That's a perfect answer. Millen, we've reached the end of the interview. It's just flown by. I could talk to you for hours. I appreciate all the insights and advice that you've shared with us today. But I'd just like to ask you one final question, and then I'd love for us to discuss this wonderful opportunity that you're offering, that we'd love to share with our audience. And just that one final question. I mean, at the moment you have achieved your dream life, and dream relationship, and you're having fun, and you're doing so much for amazing women also. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
What advice I would give to my 20 years old self?
Yeah.
Everything is possible. Be fearless. Well, even if you feel the fear, do it anyway. Go for what you dream about, and have big vision, have big dreams, and take whatever small steps you need to take, but never stop. Because when you don't believe that you can achieve it, some people won't even start. So believe that you can, believe that you are destined for something big and something beautiful, and that you can get there. And just take small step after small step. You know, it's like skiing. We don't always able to see the end of the trail, but when you see what is next and next, and then the next step will be will appear when it will be right. And also always have support, because you know, sometimes it takes years and years for someone to get there, and a lot of pain, and it's not always necessary to have such a long way to achieving your desire, whether it's relationship or wealth in your life, or financial independence or career. You know, find someone who will help you to get there, because this person have been there and knows the road, so to speak. Perfect. So I'm a big believer in having a role model in life.
That's wonderful. And you're a great role model to many of us. And I appreciate you and your wisdom and advice. It's amazing. You're a great inspiration. So, Millen, would you like to share with us? You have some wonderful resources available. Would you like to tell our audience a little bit about those? And
I would love to. Thank you. Thank you. So, like I mentioned, I teach the Millionaire Method. It's a 4-dimensional method that includes wealth mindset dimension, also smart money management, strategic investing, and a spiritual dimension, leveraging the universe. And I created a very powerful program called Activate Effortless Wealth, which is the foundation for everything that you want to achieve in life, and specifically if you want to become wealthy and financially independent. It's a great foundation. And this is a 10-week program, and now I offer this as a self-study program at 50% discount. So it's called Activate Effortless Wealth. You can I will give you the link to this program, and I would be excited to see more of your followers consider this program, because I also offer a support. We have a secret group, Activate Effortless Wealth, where I always offer answer questions, and I have I offer one private session, as well as a very powerful instant miracle healing as part of as a bonus for this program. I also have free resources on my website, daretochange.life.com. You can download Wealth Planner and start planning your wealth, especially for next year. It's a great timing. And also there is a blog where almost every week I write some articles about creating wealth, creating financial independence, buying the house, buying stocks, what is the difference between trading and investing. So every week I write something if I'm not traveling, and I think it's a great resource as well. And I also want to invite your followers to look at my books on Amazon. One book called A Shift Toward Purpose, Secrets to an Amazing Career. That's where I share my story and the questions that I was asking myself, and how I managed to transition from corporate America to being successful entrepreneur. And a second book called A Shift Toward Abundance, Secrets to Financial Freedom. And this book has an integrative approach to wealth and money, because money has a spiritual aspect as well as very practical and physical aspect. And I share golden rules of wealth creation and some tips about investing. Both books are very packed with information, but also not very lengthy. So I meant them, when I wrote them, I meant to offer them for busy women So that's what I think could be very, very helpful if your followers want to look into my ways of becoming fulfilled, really living your purpose, and creating something amazing for yourself in your life and in the lives of people around you in the world.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I will add all of those links at the bottom of the video. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us, Millen. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and hearing your insights and advice.
Thank you for having me, Maria. Thank you so much. I totally enjoyed talking to you as well. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.